It's like the moment I'm clear on an idea, I'm clear on a vision, it's a full force train. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm building the product, I'm going to sell the product, and it's going to be done by that deadline. By the time I come up with the idea, it's in motion within minutes. It became unstoppable. Like, that's my magic. So what are those things for you? Embodied CEOs don't chase trends. They pave the way. They lead from within, moved by purpose, unshaken by noise. When you are the source, you do not need permission. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Wow, happy July. When this episode comes out, it will be July, which is so crazy. I am in the process of booking our summer trip this year, and I'm so excited and so grateful. If you've followed along the last several summers since I moved to Texas, we've kind of made it a tradition to leave Texas for as long as possible in the summer, usually about a month to 6 weeks, and go explore. And I feel like every year we just kind of raise the bar a little bit more. So this year we're doing a really awesome trip, and we're starting in Banff in Canada, and then actually making our way down to Glacier and all the way over to Oregon and up to Washington. So it'll be incredible. And I have a lot of fun planning those things. I'm really good at planning experiences, but I just love being able to get my kids in new places and have experiences. And it's like every single year at the end of the year, that's what they remember, the experiences and the, adventures that we took. So it's kind of fun. By moving to Texas, it gave us the motivation to want to leave for a period of the year and create these memories and create these trips. I decided today I would do, not a life update. It's definitely not a life update, but I was like, let me just talk about a few things that are on my mind and just kind of have a conversation today instead of making it, here's 3 pieces of advice that I'm going to give you or 3 tips. People really like when I do these more, let me just share what's going on in my world and the thoughts that I'm having and kind of the strategies I'm implementing in my life and my business. So last week, I launched actually a new product called Launch, and it is what I think is the future of digital products. You can check it out if you go to embodiedmarketing.com/launch if you would like. But basically, I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to give you guys the inside scoop on the podcast because I didn't give the inside scoop when I launched it. I just shared the offer. So we've had this plan for months that I'm going to launch this product. And from the big picture of the strategy, it's our downsell. Right now, it's the founding member price is $397. It will go up from there, but it's our downsell, meaning if you are not ready to come into expand yet, you're not ready to, get support in one of our current offers. This is a fully digital product. My vision was a digital product. You get access to this, you go through the content, you get the results, and then you can come into the higher level products. So the person that it was created for is someone who needs to make their first $5,000 without paid ads. And the strategy I teach, it used to be in my Emerge program, which we shut down a couple of years ago because it had coaching and support, and I wanted to go all in on just one offer that had coaching and support, which is our expand offer. So this is just was supposed to just be a digital product. So I'm going to share this story with you. So, it was content where I teach how to develop your messaging strategy, how to develop your irresistible offer, because that is key to making any money. The offer matters so much. And then how to actually create a sales page that has the right messaging on it, the right sales language on it, and then how to sell it without using paid ads. So actually using an organic strategy that's not just post content and wait for people to come. I don't believe in that strategy, but it's actually doing strategic outreach, finding your ideal customer, having strategic connecting conversations with them to make your first $5,000. And then you can build on that by then building a lead generation funnel, then building out a more automated strategy. That's how I believe that any business should grow. If I was starting my business from the ground up, like from zero today, I would 100% start with this strategy, and then I would move into creating my funnel strategy and all of those components, which that's our expand program. So it's been planned for months that I launch this product because I have content and teachings from our old Emerge program, and I was going to redo them and update them, and I want to have something for somebody who can't come into expand. So it's been planned for months, and I go to start creating the product because I wanted to update the training so it would make sense in this format. I go to start creating it, and at the same time, I was introduced to a software basically that allows you to use AI to code. You talk to this agent and it builds out whatever you want. And I'd been doing a lot of thinking about AI and really just like contemplating. I've been watching what's happening. Where's it going? What does it mean for our businesses? I've talked to ChatGPT about what I think it means and getting its feedback. And I had this realization that I think digital products are going to change into this format of platforms where your system, your proprietary method is put into a platform. I'm calling it a platform where now your content, yes, someone can consume your content, but it's also taking them through an experience. So basically, I turned my digital product into a product that the system generates their messaging strategy for them, writes their sales page for them, gives them feedback on every single question they answer for them, finds their ideal customers for them, right? So it's using AI, it's using intelligence, but it's also still using my method, my process, and my content. And so I would like to do this. I will be doing this for our Expand program. I'll also be creating something specific for our agency. It is 100% what I think the future is for all digital products. That's honestly a different podcast episode. I am going to do a whole different podcast episode on AI. And how we're using it, yes, but also the future of it. And I'm also going to be incorporating a lot of AI conversations and workshops in our Embodied Marketing Live event happening this month, July 17th. So I'm going to be doing some really like behind the scenes stuff that I haven't shared publicly because I'm still really like testing. Anyways, the story I'm trying to tell here is I launched this product. This product was supposed to be a simple downsell, log in, get your content. But I found this thing and I was like, oh, I can't do it that way anymore. I got to build this whole platform. I want to sell it this way. This will be a perfect test because I want to do this for our bigger program. I want to do this for the agency, but this is like, a quarter of it. It's a practice. So I took it on to build it all myself because I needed to test it. And I hadn't worked that much. I had not worked that much in years. Like I worked really hard. I worked like a lot on a weekend and I don't do that anymore at this season in my business, but I was just really pumped up about this. And I was freaking out. Like when I found it, I was like calling my mom, calling my brother, and I was like, you guys aren't going to believe this. It's so crazy. Because I have experience with starting to build a software a few years ago that I paused on just because of how crazy expensive it was and how it was so hard for me to communicate with developers and get what I really wanted. And this like takes the need for developers out. I do think we'll still need developers. Anyways, all this to say, I put an impossible deadline on myself and I'm really good at doing this. And I created a bunch of pressure for myself because we had already committed to the date that I was doing this webinar, fit in with the marketing calendar, my retreat schedule for my mastermind, all those things. We had the date, we were promoting the webinar, and I could have just simply recorded content, which was like a few videos I needed to update. I already had most of the content and sold the offer. We already had the sales page. I could have done it as is, but I found this option and I was like, no, we're doing it this way. Like, if I'm going to do it, I only do it. I'm all in, right? And I can't just like sell something and then know I'm going to change it. So I committed to this and I ended up in like 6 days building the entire product myself, creating the webinar, creating everything. We had to update the sales. I mean, it changed the whole product. So I put a ton of pressure on myself. And last week was insane. Like I was feeling the pressure, but not in a way where I was like, I can't do this. It was like, it's temporary. I just got to get to Thursday. I got to get to that webinar and I'm excited about this. And so I'm willing to do this and like be in this kind of build season for a minute. So I share that so you can have the story. But also I think there's a power in this. I think that energy, like that energy when an entrepreneur has a vision and there is nothing that's going to stop them from accomplishing that vision. And also a deadline that's almost impossible to meet. I mean, okay, we're going to talk about the flip side of this, but Elon does this all the time in his companies is he just puts a deadline and a lot of times, employees are like, that's impossible. But most of the time they find a way. They find a way to get it done by that time. Regardless what you think of Elon and the criticism that he receives, He's a brilliant entrepreneur. And there is a power to that. There is a power to forcing yourself to get something and like ship it by this date, no matter what. And then that makes it so that you get over the need for it to be perfect. And also it's like when you do that, there's some sort of, science or something happening because you always do find a way. You really do. And I'm fortunate to have a team. So I have a lot of support in this, in getting things out there or like troubleshooting if there was an issue. And I've since now brought someone in to help me with troubleshooting any issues that the users are having. And we're working on the product daily. But I had to set the foundation. I had to set the vision. Point being, there is a magic to follow that energy. And I want to talk about this because I think that two things. I think that when you get to a certain place as an entrepreneur, it's very easy to become complacent. It's easy to go, we've got, this baseline of success. This is how I spend my day most of the days. And it becomes monotonous. And like you lose that creative energy and you lose that real inspiration that a lot of times we experience at the beginning of our business. Because remember the very beginning of our business, or maybe you're there where you're like, everything's so exciting because you're doing these new things and sometimes it's huge challenges that you're facing, but you've got that energy of like, I'm going to make this happen and I'm going to like create all these ideas, and you have all these ideas happening and you've got that inspiration. And I think as you grow your business and things start working, which is great, that's what you want to have happen, it's easy to fall into a more complacent place. And it's also good to sometimes be in a place where you're not like creating a bunch of new things all the time. It's, an issue some entrepreneurs have is they don't sit in the seasons of boring, monotonous work. And then also sometimes it's needed to go into a season of inspiration, of creativity, of like, I like to call it like fuck around and find out, because it's like you don't have a plan, right? You are just kind of like creating, see what happens. Let's just do this. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's do this. Like the speed of it. It's the speed. It's like the moment I'm clear on an idea, I'm clear on a vision, it's a full force train. Nothing's going to stop me. And it's a superpower. So I have learned over the years to embrace that. So what does that mean? It means that last week I didn't have balance. I did not have the same amount of balance that I normally would have had in a week. I worked way more. But I still maintained enough balance to where there was no sacrifice of something I was not willing to sacrifice. So my training, it still happened. You guys know my CrossFit is top priority. Time with my kids, a minimum of an hour unplugged. At the end of the day, playing a family game, family dinner, a minimum. Usually we got a little bit more, but of like really intentional time, non-negotiable. My meditation practice, non-negotiable. Now, I did go down last week to an hour to an hour and 20 a day of meditation because I did it in the morning and I didn't do it in the evening because that I needed to have that be time for my kids because I was working more. So it's like a juggle, right? And I say this because when you have those moments of like excitement and that creativity and that inspiration, you got to follow it. And the faster you follow it and the faster you embrace that speed, the more of a superpower it is. And also, it doesn't have to mean you sacrifice things you're not willing to sacrifice. And someone was in my DMs because I said I was going to talk about this on the podcast, that I was in one of the busiest weeks of the last like several years just because of this deadline that I had. I mean, I needed every minute until that webinar to finish the product to where I wanted it to and to get the webinar ready. And God, I love a good pressure cooker. That's maybe like also a weakness of mine. But someone in my DMs was like, I stayed up till 2 a.m. last night building a sales page. And she was saying it like she did something wrong. And I said, did you stay up until 2 a.m. because you're really excited about the sales page and you're excited about what you're building and you wanted to have that time to work on it? Or did you stay up because you were sacrificing yourself and your sleep and, other things in your life that you don't feel you were willing to sacrifice? And she said, no, it's purely like, I'm so excited. I just want to get this out there. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There were seasons in the beginning of my business where I worked until midnight. And you can't do it forever, but you can do it for a season. And I think we need to stop making things like the right and the wrong way, the good and the bad way. If you have a week where you're hustling and you're hitting a deadline and you're getting something out there and you're shipping it and you're building it and you are moving with speed and intention, that is magic and it's a superpower, okay? Because most people can't do it. Most people get caught up, they get distracted, they get caught up in the overthinking and the perfection. And so if you can move with speed, the more you do that and the more you follow that creativity and you just put it out there and you figure it out, the more successful you'll be 100%. And so it's okay to have those weeks. It's okay to have those months. And then when it no longer is in alignment, you got to shift it because there will hit a point where you're like, well, I can't keep working like this. And me, by the end of last week, webinar came and went, crushed it, products out. I brought in support for any tech issues that came up for the users. Going into the weekend, I was like, I gotta recharge. I went off social, hung out with my kids most of the weekend, got my workouts in, did stuff around the house. Like I recharged. So you know the answer, you know the right thing for yourself. And I think over the years, that's what I've learned, because there was many times that I would have made that a judgment on myself. You're working too much, you're addicted to working, you put these deadlines on yourself, you put this pressure on yourself, and you shouldn't. And instead, I was like, no, this is my freaking superpower right here in this moment, because I found this thing, days ago, and I'm building the product, I'm going to sell the product, and it's going to be done by that deadline. And just like, watch me. And so I fully embraced it and actually loved that about myself. And then I bring it back into harmony. Now, there is also a flip side to this that I've reflected on over the weekend, because I do love the good pressure cooker deadlines. And while it is a superpower, I sat with this question this morning of, would the $10 million CEO, Emily, operate that way? And I think for short periods of time, yes. I also think I have to be careful to not create chaos and constant jam-packed deadlines and overwhelm on my team and myself. And I do a pretty good job, but I want to make sure the energy that I'm cultivating on a day-to-day basis, minus the rare weeks like we had last week, has a lot more groundedness to it and sustainability, because I think the $10 million CEO, Emily, will have to operate that way to have that operation. So I'm constantly calling myself into question, not in a judgmental way, but okay, let's look at all angles here. Let's look at this. Let's see, the future version. Is this in alignment with her? Let's acknowledge the superpower here. Let's ride that wave of what you're really good at, which is getting shit done, committing to something and making it happen, and no matter what. No obstacle could have gotten in my way last week to do what I did. And there were so many people, my husband included, people at my gym who knew what I was doing. And I literally brought my computer to the gym, because the way you build this thing, you're talking to this robot agent, and it has to go do stuff. So you have to talk to it, and then it goes and does stuff. And so I needed to have it all day. So I brought my computer to the gym, and in between my squat sets, I'm talking to the agent. So people at my gym knew what I was doing, and they were like, this is insane. You're telling me in 5 days you're building this? And I was like, yeah, and I'm going to launch it on Thursday. And here it is. And I sent them the login. So I'm going to embrace that piece of me without judgment. I'm going to let her do her thing. And then we're going to come back into harmony. So I say all this because I think it's really easy to look at other people and to create this idea of how you're supposed to be as an entrepreneur. And it's really about what's in alignment for you in this season. And a season could be a week, right? For me, that was a 7-day period. That was pressure cooker. Okay, we're out of that now. We got to shift out of that. That can't last for very long. And I know that because I can feel it in my body. I can feel when I hit the point of now we've gone over the line. But I allowed it to create the magic that it can create. So what's in alignment for you in this season? Only you can answer that question. Your coach can't answer that question. I can't answer that question for you. Only you know. What are your non-negotiables? I can't tell you this enough, how important knowing what those are. Because then no matter what happens in the business, like I could have the biggest blow up happen. I could have the biggest idea, the biggest thing I need to go create. I know my non-negotiables. For me, my non-negotiables every single day outside of business are my meditation practice, connecting with my family, my husband and my kids, unplugged and fully present, and my training. Those three things have to happen no matter what. Then I can work the rest of the day if that's what I want to do. So knowing those, I didn't sacrifice anything I wasn't willing to sacrifice last week. Now I did cancel every single meeting and every minute of my day. And I told my team this on Monday. I said, I need every minute until that webinar on Thursday. So I got to cancel every meeting. I will not be in Slack. I will not be in email because I need every minute. But my non-negotiables still got done. So what are those? Write them down. Sit down and do an exercise. What are your daily and weekly non-negotiables? Because then you come back to those in the moments that you're in it. You're in the thick of it. And then what are those things in your business that you're excited about? And for me, like what happens, I have this experience where the moment I have like full clarity on something and I can see the vision, there is nothing that can stop me, and I want it tomorrow. I want it yesterday. And I saw this vision for AI. I found this thing and it was like all this like perfect alignment of we're putting this product out. It's a smaller product. I found this software. I saw the vision of how it was going to fit together. I had these conversations with ChatGPT and others in the industry. And I was like, I'm going to do something that's not done yet, which is turn a digital product into a platform that's an experience someone goes through with AI, but also my system and my proprietary methods. And when I could channel that excitement, it became unstoppable. Like that's my magic. So what are those things for you where if you're super excited about it and you gave yourself permission to be unbalanced and to just go all in? I think speed is so important. I reshared something on my Instagram the other day that said this, like the most successful people use speed. And the time it takes for somebody to come up with the idea and execute it. The people that are successful, like they've already executed it and all the rest of the people are still making the plan. And hands down, I'm so grateful that this is something I naturally do, but hands down, I fully agree. Like by the time I come up with the idea, it's in motion within minutes. I'm not making a plan. I'm not making sure I have everything together. Like I'll figure it out along the way. And it is the best thing for business. Again, there's a balance to that. You can't do that every single day. You have to build a foundation. You have to build systems. Your team will hate that. But a good team like mine appreciates that about me. So on Thursday when we had this, like they knew I was going to get this done. And it required some of them to really push last week to help me get it done. But they were like, this is Emily. This is her magic. And they like fully support me. And I'm so grateful for that. So those are some updates on the behind the scenes of launching our platform called Launch. That's the future of where I see our Expand program transitioning into, and I'm going to create something for our agency clients that will be our own custom. I think all businesses are going to be creating their own systems, their own platforms in the coming year. I think it's going to happen very fast and it's going to leverage AI, yes, but your proprietary systems, your processes, your methods with AI in your own platform, your own software. And it's crazy how simple it can be to build. So I also plan to help some of our done for you clients because I have so many ideas. I'm actually not going to spoil it. I'm going to talk about it at our live event, how I think this is going to impact lead generation, launches, offers. We're going into a season where building is going to be really necessary, even for the established business, because everything's changing so fast. So the businesses and the entrepreneurs who have maybe fallen into that complacency of like, I just want things to be easy. I want it to be exactly how I've had it. And like this worked before, you're going to be in trouble because the reality is like most businesses right now are going to have to rebuild in an exciting way for this new era because AI is changing everything. And you either play and keep up or you don't. And I really don't say that like I hate the fear mongering around this. I see it as exciting. Like there's no rules right now. It's the Wild West with AI. Like we get to pave the way. We get to create this. We get to come up with ideas of things that didn't exist yet. And I think especially in the online world, the digital marketing world, and online businesses and courses and services, we're way ahead of most people. You go to a local service business in Austin and they're probably barely using AI. Maybe some are, but not a ton, and not in a way that would be like this. So we get to pave the way. We get to come up with the ideas. There's no rules. Like, you have full autonomy and creativity over this right now. And that to me is exciting. And a lot of businesses are going to have to rebuild into this new era. And so you're going to be in the seasons of fuck around and find out. Like, really, just try things. All right, last thing I wanted to share. I'm heading into my Elevate retreat this week. The girls are flying in actually today, and I thought it'd be fun to share a little bit of how I prep for a retreat personally, and how I have built my own practice around being able to create an experience for others and hold that container, hold that space for others. I thought you guys might enjoy that. So today is the start of the retreat. I am leaving the studio, heading to my house. My team will be here in the next hour to support me in the retreat. And then the girls kick off at 5 o'clock tonight. So it's a retreat in Austin. This is for the girls who are in my Elevate Mastermind. And if you've followed along at all the last year, you know how much I love retreats and I love events. And I've really found a calling in creating experiences for others through these things. So for me, what I do to prep for a retreat, both before and then also during, before I plan out, obviously, the retreat kind of agenda, the facilitators I'm going to bring in. And then what I do is I have a whole list of workshops that I would like to teach. All of my retreats are very workshop style. I'm never like, here's the slides, listen to what I'm saying. It's super interactive. It's answer these questions. Like, we're building something, building a plan, building a, realization to a future, whatever. So I have a list of all these workshops and kind of like a tentative plan over the several days. And each day is intentional. Like, the day that I have facilitators come and teach a specific thing is intentional. It builds off of each other. But I leave a lot of room for flexibility because, and this is something that, I think is why my retreats are so incredible, is they're not rigid. It's very much tuning into the energy of the group. I find that every time there's like certain topics that are just like, we're meant to be diving into that. Everybody's like wanting that, hungry for that. And so I leave it flexible and I'll pull the workshops, I'll shift them around. And sometimes mid-retreat, a new idea comes to me and I'm like, this is the workshop we're doing in 2 hours, just because I'm feeling that energy. So this time around, especially because I have been so intentional with my meditation practice and energy. I actually had a little ritual yesterday where I meditated and I sat down and I tuned into the energy of the group coming, which I do know the girls pretty well because they're in my mastermind. We meet every week. And I really got clear on like where I feel that they're at, what I feel that the intention of the week should be as the facilitator. And that helped me get my energy in the right space. And then I have so much support around me. And I felt inspired to talk about that this morning because I was reflecting on it as I was driving this morning and just like sharing this like behind the scenes of my day because I think you'll appreciate this. So it's almost noon. The retreat starts in about 5 hours. I'm not stressed at all. I needed to get this podcast recorded so that I didn't have to be stressed after the retreat to record it. And I went to the gym this morning. I took my youngest to preschool. I went to the gym this morning because I have a competition on Saturday and I needed to practice because I can't practice the rest of the week. So I went to the gym. My team's flying in. I have my nanny who's going to go get my car washed because we're going to use it this week. My husband's fully, on board and supportive with the kids this week because I'll be actually staying on site at the retreat. I have my right hand, Morgan, flying in to support me at the retreat. So I'm saying this not because I want to sound spoiled. I'm very fortunate for all of the support. I could not host the level of events and retreats I have with 3 kids and the company I have without the support I have. Not to mention my entire team who's running the day-to-day for clients in our Done With You and our Done For You program. And now the support I have who's running the launch program that we launched 2 days ago and we're already making updates to. So I have a lot of support and I was just feeling so grateful for that driving here this morning because I was realizing like I get to go to the gym for an hour and a half on a day that a retreat kicks off and I'm zero stress. Like I have plenty of time because everything's done. everything's handled. Like there's a few things I need to do, sync with my team, but I'm not stressed. And I think a lot of people, when I see them run events and run retreats, there's like a lot of chaos. And I just don't experience that when I run them. I think one, because of all the support, but two, because it's such a easy thing for me to create an experience for people, and I don't need everything pre-planned and perfect. I'm able to really flow with it. So my support before the retreat is planning the loose agenda. My team member who flies in handles getting the girls gifts, dinner reservations, and she's going to help me manage the agenda this week, manage, facilitators, reservations, timing shifts, no matter what on a retreat. And then my energy really matters. So this morning I went to the gym, and I was supposed to do a little bit more at the gym. I was practicing with my partner for the competition this weekend, and I was like, I gotta call it because I don't want to get into the state where I'm rushing. So I'm going to cut this out of my workout today. I feel good about what I did, and I'm going to move on with the things I know I need to get done, because I will not allow myself to get in that energy of rushing before a retreat. During the retreat, I'm really intentional with my morning practice before I head into a retreat. The way I run all of my retreats, I'm on site. So it's not like I leave, right? And I clock out, at 5. I'm on site the whole time we're in an Airbnb. And so my morning practice is going to be essential this week. My meditation, get out for a walk, be unplugged. What I would never do is throw myself into like Slack and email before running a retreat. My energy matters so much, like how clear I am. Because if I stay really clear and I stay really grounded and I stay really open and I don't have the noise and I don't have the chaos, I'm able to create a better experience for the girls. So my morning practice is key. And this week especially, I'll be incorporating my hour to hour and a half of meditation. I'll get up early enough for that, getting enough sleep. The girls sometimes stay up late and talk, and I try my best. It's hard because I love staying up with them, but to excuse myself and go to bed by like 9:30. And just that flow. And I'm able to flow through the week because I have support and I have someone there whose main job is, am I taken care of? And is the details taken care of so that Emily can be in the workshops, Emily can be in the energy, Emily can be fully present for the girls and for the experience. And then after the retreat, I usually give myself time to recoup and, a day. I don't need a ton because I'm not exhausted from them at all. It just it doesn't exhaust me. It energizes me a lot. And I actually miss the girls after the end of the retreat. I'm like, oh, let's do it again, because it's just so fulfilling for me. So I look forward to the next one immediately after one ends. So that is going to be my week this week. And it's my favorite thing because each person who attends a retreat has such a life-changing experience that it doesn't just impact them and their business. It impacts their partners, their kids, their friends, like their entire life. And that to me is the most rewarding thing. So, all right, guys, I hope you appreciated this podcast. Little updates, little stories from me, a little something different than our usual. But I thought it'd be fun to give you the behind the scenes of the last week. I'm super excited about this direction. And I'm excited about AI. I really am. I know a lot of people are nervous for it. Again, I think there's a lot of opportunity. And I think there's a way that we get to use AI and maintain human connection. And I don't want to give stuff away, but I'm going to do some really fun tests with my own marketing. AI versus human copy. And anyways, I have this theory about it. The energy frequency that AI copy has and how we can strategically mitigate that. So Embodied Marketing Live is going to be filled with all this insider stuff. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, embodiedmarketing.com/live. I think we've got 5 left as of recording this podcast.